The Anaputi Katharine, or the gradual instruction. The Anaputi Katha, or the gradual training, starts with generosity, dana kata, virtue, shila kata, and sakka kata, the fruition of dana and shila that leads to the birth in the heavenly realms. The dangers of sensuality, and ends with a renunciation. If you cannot renunciate physically, you can ordain your mind by taking a vow to train your mind to become one with the Dhamma. Having done that, you are now ready to listen and practice the Dhamma to purify the mind. The analogy is like washing a dirty cloth, ready for dyeing, with the color from the heartwood or tree bark. The color of my robe is from jackfruit heartwood. We need to wash the cloth before dyeing so the color will stay on properly. Likewise, with our clean mind, you are now ready to listen to the Dhamma talk and take it to heart. Taking it to heart is crucial. Let's start with dana, or generosity. We tend to think of dana as giving money when people or monks ask for a donation. Dana means letting go. We need to let go of anything unwholesome. Make a vow saying, "Of all the bad things I have done by breaking the precepts, refraining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and using intoxicants, I will not do this again." Keep this resolution firmly in mind. No more intention to break the precepts from now on. If, however, you have made mistakes, you have to take the vow in front of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha that you intend never to break the precepts again, physically, verbally, or mentally. If you have inadvertently broken the vow, you need to ask for forgiveness from the Buddha and Dhamma and the Noble Sangha every time. In the future, the violation of the moral codes through the body, speech, and mind will occur less and less. The mind will remain in a wholesome state more often. Letting go of anything unwholesome is meritorious in itself. Make a vow in your mind and let go of all the unwholesome states, including stress and worries. Let them all go. Focus more on wholesome deeds, be they generosity, morality, concentration, or vipassana meditation. Let me stress how important this is. Most people understand thinking that dana is merely giving money donations. After they have given out the money, they make a wish for this or that. For instance, they wish to win a lottery or become wealthier. They donate a little bit of money, but they wish for more in return. This is not dana. It's not letting go. It's greed. Remember that dana means letting go, not craving for more. There must be an intention to let go of anything unwholesome in the mind. If you have broken the 5 precepts, you must stop and refrain from further violations. Don't keep past mistakes in your mind. Anytime you make an inadvertent blunder, ask for forgiveness from the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Noble Sangha. Say, "I have made an involuntary mistake. From now on, I will remember the shame of doing wrong and the fear of doing wrong in the mind, and not let defilements get the better of me by doing unwholesome things. Keep doing this, and merits will accumulate. This is the important aspect of dana, generosity, that goes straight to the heart. Dana is not merely giving out things. Rather, it comes from the heart that lets go of the unwholesome. When there is no more intention to do bad, unwholesome things, the next step is to let go of stress in the mind. Whatever is kept in the mind that leads to stress and worries, let it go. This is a more refined level of letting go of the intention to do bad things by safeguarding the mind and not doing bad things physically, verbally, and mentally. The mind will thus feel increasingly happy and at peace. When morality penetrates the mind, we let go of anger, ill will, animosity, and hatred that trouble the mind. This is a more subtle level than the first one. As the mind continues to let go of both unwholesome actions and mental residues, it becomes radiant, happy, and peaceful. No anger, ill will, or animosity remains in the mind. You no longer hold on to past anger or grudges, blaming. Instead, you develop loving kindness and forgiveness in your heart. Remember that humans, deities, Indra, Brahmas, giants, Nagas, Garudas, humans, spirits, and other beings all have ignorance, not knowing the truth. Therefore, they are bound to make mistakes. When they have an insight understanding of the truth, they will be free from wrongdoing. Animals can be born as humans. People who have done bad things due to ignorance may be born as animals. Never look down on animals. The generosity, dana, is complete when you let go of anger, ill will, and grudges or blamings in your mind. Morality, sila, will penetrate the heart, making it virtuous and generous when there is letting go from within. The mind is at peace, no negativities remain there. It is happy, radiant, and in heaven. Hell is also in the mind. When it is not happy, filled with anger and ill will, that is hell. When it is happy and at peace, nothing disturbs it. It is in heaven. Vice realms and those of animals, hungry ghosts, giants, and hell beings start again. When it is happy and at peace, nothing disturbs it. It is in heaven. Vice realms are those of animals, hungry ghosts, giants, and hell beings. Heaven includes the 6 diva realms, form, and the formless realms. Both heaven and hell exist in our mind and are not necessarily the places we go after death. Whether we go to hell or heaven after death depends on the present moment. If our states of mind were like those of animals, hungry ghosts, giants, and hell beings, we are physically human, but our minds are not. If, however, our mind is happy with meritorious deeds, and it continues to let go of anger, ill will, and grudges, blamings, the mind is in heaven or the higher heavens. When the mind is in a higher heaven, try to maintain that state. Don't let vices befall you, taking you back to suffering, hatred, and animosity. When we are not mindful and lack wisdom, we follow the defilements that enter through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. We become immoral, lack kindness, and are not forgiving. We fall further down into the unwholesome states. The mind suffers and is unhappy. This easily happens. However, to master the mind, not letting it move towards immorality, and to let go of anger, ill will, and grudges, blamings, is like pushing a rock up a mountain. It needs ardent effort, mindfulness, concentration, confidence, patience, and hiriotapa, shame of doing wrong and the fear of doing wrong, to successfully safeguard the mind from defilements. It takes a lot of effort and patient forbearance at the beginning and the middle to push the rock up the mountain. In the end, happiness and peace multiply. Let go of unwholesome things and do the wholesome. Train oneself to conquer mental defilements. Know that you are not alone on this path through nature and the universe. If you can do this with effort and patience, you will be protected by your meritorious deeds, the power of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the boundless loving kindness of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the noble disciples, teachers, celestial beings, giants, nagas, garudas, fellow humans, spirits, and other beings. When you train your mind to let go of the unwholesome and do the wholesome, not keeping defilements in the mind, this means that you are being kind to yourself. When you are kind to yourself, you won't make others suffer. You will have kindness for others. Boundless loving kindness is being kind to oneself and others, not causing grief for oneself and others. The Buddha said that if you practice this regularly, you will gain 11 benefits. For example, if you fall into a river, you won't be swept away by it. In case of fire, you won't be burnt by it. When life gets tough and you have trouble or are poverty-stricken, you will always get help. You won't die from a sharp weapon. You will be happy, asleep, or awake. You can enter the jhana states quite easily, like a breeze. This one is important. Normally, it's very difficult to enter the jhana state. Only 1 in 100,000 or 1 in a million can do it. If you haven't reached enlightenment when you die, you will go to a good place. The only thing that will dispel all these benefits is your bad karma from the past. It will prevent the aforementioned benefits from taking place. That's why the Buddha taught us to let go of the unwholesome first, so that the consequences of the unwholesome karma will not bear fruit. Despite what you have done in the past, carry on letting go of the unwholesome. Do the wholesome and train your mind for the better. The merits you gained, you can dedicate to those who you have harmed or hurt, and to all sentient beings without any bias. This is boundless loving kindness. Practice it daily. It's even better if you can do it morning and evening. Whilst developing mindfulness concentration, wisdom, confidence, effort, moral shame, moral dread, and patience to let go of the unwholesome and do the wholesome, sometimes discouragements set in. Don't give in or give up. When discouraged, think of the infinite kindness of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Noble Sangha, and the teachers. May Appamano Buddho, Appamano Dhammo, Appamano Sangho, and all the merits and perfections we have developed become one and give us encouragement. May the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Noble Sangha inspire us to let go, purify the mind, and be free from defilements, stress, and suffering. During the practice of letting go of the unwholesome and training the mind to be wholesome, several obstacles may arise and discourage you. You can take refuge in the power of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. May the perfections, the Bharami, and the loving kindness, metta, of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Noble Sangha, and teachers give us support and inspiration to fulfill our dreams to the end, suffering, or to reach Nibbana. Let the external energy and internal energy be connected. Luangta has already prayed for the power of the Buddha, the pure, infinite power of the truth, nature, and the pure mind energy from the kindness and perfections of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, together with all my own and yours to support you. May you be free from suffering and bad karma. May you be happy and continue to progress and attain the purity of heart, be at peace, and reach Nibbana, the end of suffering. You need to connect with the external enemies of my prayer from within. With steady confidence, allowing the external energies to penetrate forth. The energy developed from your ardent practice of mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, confidence, moral shame, moral dread, and patience to resist defilements will merge with the external energies. When the two energies constantly connect, this will help you to progress and succeed. Physically, it is difficult for me to travel long distances, and I have several teaching engagements in many places. I have prayed requesting for the powers and the perfections of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, my own and yours, to form boundless energy beyond time and distance. As long as you have steadfast confidence in yourself, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Noble Sangha, and Luangta, there will be a heart-to-heart, mind-to-mind connection, regardless of the distance, time, and place. When there is a mind-heart connection, the steadfast confidence, the Dhamma, and the powers and the perfections of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha will penetrate your heart straight away. You need to let go of anything unwholesome. Do what is wholesome and purify the mind to be free from defilements, suffering, and sadness. This will show that you have faith, confidence. With continuous mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, confidence, shame, fear of wrongdoing, and patience, mental suffering, defilements, and cravings are gradually reduced 1% at a time. If you have lessened by 25%, in conventional terms, your mind will be 25% at peace. This is known as Satipana. Satipana, the first of the 4 stages of enlightenment, literally means one who enters the stream. You will be born for no more than 7 lifetimes before attaining arhatship or nibbana. With continuous mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, confidence, effort, shame, fear of wrongdoing, and patience, doing what is wholesome and letting go of the unwholesome in your mind, like anger, ill will, grudges, sensitivities, and worries, up to 50%, the mind is 50% at peace. This is the attainment of Sakadagami. With mindfulness, samadhi, wisdom, confidence, shame, fear of wrongdoing, and the patience to let go of the unwholesome and guard the mind against defilements that enter through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, until defilements, craving, and mental suffering are reduced by 75%, this is the attainment of the anagami level. You will be born only one more time before attaining arhatship. If your patience with sati, samadhi, wisdom, confidence, effort, shame, fear of wrongdoing, and patience to refrain from defilement and unwholesome deeds, freeing yourself from all defilements and suffering has reached 100%. That's nibbana, or the attainment of arhatship. Whether you are a layperson or ordained, you are called an arhat. The attainment of sotapanna, sakadagami, anagami, and arhat occurs in the mind. You become a noble one in the mind. Renunciation takes place in the mind. It has nothing to do with the uniform you wear. If deep inside your mind is not free from defilements and cravings, you are just a conventional sangha. You are not yet one of the Buddha's holy sangha disciples. But if you, as a layperson, practice according to the aforementioned instructions and are free from defilements, you are known as one of the noble ones. I have talked about the Dhamma, including dana and sila, and their benefits that penetrate the heart, allowing the mind to be wholesome, happy, and at peace, like that of a heavenly being. However, if we let defilements that enter through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind befall us, we will fall from heaven. The happy mind will suffer if we are heedless. The practice is like rolling a round big rock up the mountain. You need ardent patience and confidence, otherwise the rock will fall due to the defilements that come through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. All the effort you have made will be in vain. When you have made the effort, you need to persevere to master your mind. You need to keep at it. You will win the battles against others. You may win the battles against others, but it's nothing compared to when you master your mind and defeat the defilements and clinging. For as long as the earth hasn't covered our face, meaning death, we must not give up our effort. We need to keep at it to the end. To reduce the impacts of defilements on the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, we need to contemplate regularly that this body and mind of ours and others, the body, feeling, perceptions, mental formations, consciousness, are impermanent. They arise and cease, subject to old age, sickness, and death. Separation is normal. There is nothing to hold on to. Being a husband, a wife, parent, children, and relatives are temporary. We will be separated from them according to the law of nature. Nobody can defy that law and live forever. We are born and die, meet each other and part ways. No one can escape from this. Contemplate this every day. Attachments to defilements and craving will gradually decrease when you see the truth of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. There is nothing to hold on to. Contemplate regularly. When the mind gradually becomes peaceful, use it to contemplate that before your body and mind came into existence and matured to the point that you can listen to Luangta's teachings, this self or this me did not exist on earth. Inside your mother's womb, there was no you in an adult size able to listen to Luangta's talks. This body and mind came later. They arose from non-existence to become a body and mind, and eventually the body will age, get sick, and die, returning to emptiness. This is a truth we can't escape from. Contemplate the impermanence of our and others' bodies, that they are subjected to aging, sickness, death, and decay. After that, they will return to earth, air, water, and fire elements. This is easy to see because our grandparents and others that we know may have already passed away. When we were young, our great-grandparents passed away. As we grew up, became teenagers and adults, our grandparents' generation passed away. Familiar faces of people we know began to fade from our memory. When we get old, our parents and our parents' parents also pass away. When our children grow up, we grow old. When our grandchildren grow up, our generation begins to disappear. When the children of our grandchildren grow up, our grandchildren's generation will disappear from the earth as well. Contemplate regularly and continuously to see this truth. Do not be heedless. As mentioned earlier, it is evident that the body comes from non-existence. It then exists and eventually returns to non-existence. Contemplating the body is easy. The mind, comprising arising thoughts and emotions, wholesome and unwholesome, pleasant and unpleasant, however, needs to be quietly observed. The mind is abstract. It comes from non-existence. There is no thought or emotion to start with, and then they arise and cease into nothingness. Just like this piece of cloth thrown up in the air and falling back down. Look carefully. Originally, there was emptiness, nothingness in the mind. Then came sensation, thought, emotion, pleasant or unpleasant, wholesome or unwholesome. They come from nothing and return to nothing. Like this piece of cloth that comes from nothing and returns to nothing, from no phenomenon returning to no phenomenon. So do our lives. Nothing remains forever, not even an atom of it. We can all observe this truth. All conditioned things, body and mind, rupa nama, arise and cease naturally. There is nothing, not even a tiny atom, that remains forever for us to cling to as self. There is no external body, mind, or self. It's our delusion to think otherwise. You need to contemplate the truth of the body and mind as much as you can. No one can escape this truth. Contemplate all day and night while standing, walking, sitting, lying down, going to the bathroom, toilet, drinking, eating, or traveling. Contemplate the truth of our body and mind and those of others, that there is no permanent self, no permanent body and mind. Do this not only when you sit and meditate with your eyes closed, but do it all the time in any posture. When the truth sinks in, your mind will finally learn to accept things as they are and be ready to part with them when dying. You will pass away in peace with no worries, no concerns, and no attachments. When there is no clinging, consciousness has no self to cling to suffer. Consciousness ceases like a fire that dies down or goes out without anything to rekindle it. What's left is a pure mind or pure heart that is like a vast empty universe with no boundaries, shape, or form, known in conventional term as nibbana. Excuse me. Therefore, this nibbana occurs while we are still alive, not after we are dead. When the mind understands the truth that the body and mind are not a permanent self, not even an atom of it, starts to let go and detach from the fear of death, worries, and clinging, grasping. This is known as dispassion. When the abandonment is complete, this is also known as nirvana, with remainder, meaning that the mind has no sticky substance that binds it to anything while we are still alive. When a person who has already obtained Sotahisa Nibbana finally dies, their 5 aggregates disintegrate. Their residual karma resulting from the retribution and attachments in previous lives and in this lifetime finally cease. This is known as nirvana without remainder, or final nirvana. So, nibbana occurs twice. One happens at death. Before death, it is known as the nibbana, freedom from defilements and suffering. Anupahisa nibbana is the cessation of residual karma. The body, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness are subject to old age, sickness, and death. When the 5 elements cease, a person may face excruciating pain at death due to the final residual karma. The disintegration of the 5 aggregates is complete. There will be no more consciousness that will take any form of birth. It comes to extinction like a fire that cannot be rekindled. Any remaining karma will no longer bear fruit. I have talked about the gradual instruction from the beginning to the end of suffering, from dana, sila, and their benefits that will lead to momentary birth in a heavenly realm. If, however, the mind falls into an unwholesome state, filled with defilements and cravings or vices, it is already in the vice realm. If the mind lets go of the unwholesome and does the wholesome, it is in the divine realm. When dana and sila are firmly established in the mind, concentration arises. The mind is at peace. There is an insight knowledge that sees the danger of indulging in sensual pleasures through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, which leads to suffering, clinging, and a cloudy mind. Always try to master your mind by recognizing the danger of sensual pleasures. Contemplate the impermanence, suffering, and non-self of the body and mind. They are inconstant and stressful, not worth clinging to. In this case, the mind becomes even more at peace. The more peaceful the mind is, the clearer it can see the truth. It becomes weary of attachments that lead to suffering. In the end, the mind lets go. The more it can let go, the more peaceful it is. This is Nibbana. We can all develop an understanding of this truth, that all compounded things are impermanent, stressful, and not self. Whatever arises will cease. We can't cling to it. Whatever doesn't arise doesn't cease. This is the truth of nature. All the Buddhas discovered this truth. The body, mind, materiality, energy, or colorful lights come from non-existence into existence. They fall under the 3 characteristics: impermanent, stressful, and not self. All that arises and ceases comes from non-existence. They come into existence and then cease. Nature is about existence and non-existence. Whatever exists comes from non-existence and returns to non-existence. The Buddha, the lone Buddhas, and the noble Sangha realize this truth. The material world is full of greed and endless cravings. Dhamma, by contrast, ends with nothingness. No one has, no one loses, and no one becomes anything. The mind is pure and devoid of self. When there is no self, there is no clinging that will lead to defilements and suffering. No self, no defilements, no suffering. This is known in conventional terms as pure mind or Nibbana mind. Within a limited time, I have conveyed the ultimate truth from the pure mind of the Buddhas, the lone Buddhas, the Dhamma Sangha, the noble Sanghas, teachers and my pure mind to you and your pure mind. The Dhamma truth was transmitted from heart to heart. Open your heart to receive the Dhamma truth and apply it to your practice accordingly, so that you will see it for yourself. Your mind will be progressively at peace. Don't be heedless. May peace and happiness from the infinite kindness of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, the powers and the perfections of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the perfections that you and I have developed be all connected. May they safeguard you from the hell realm, the places of suffering. May you be happy, at peace, free from suffering, illness, distress, and painful things. May you thrive on the Dhamma path and reach enlightenment.